Welcome along to another opposition preview, the show that brings you a lowdown on Saints' next opponents. And for the third weekend in a row, it is another London club. This weekend, Chelsea visit St Mary's and a home game for the first time in about 5 weeks, everybody. So savour this one, hopefully. So with us to tell us all about why Chelsea currently have the blues. Louis from 100% Chelsea, thanks for coming by, mate.
That is shocking. That is shocking. Yeah, how are you? You good?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Looking forward to a home game.
Yeah, we didn't have 5 weeks. We had a few weeks away from the bridge, and it wasn't. They're all north. The game's up north as well, so that was always fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, one place to start. By all accounts, Chelsea somewhat underwhelming this season. You obviously know the score already, but currently 10 points from top four. And also away from Champions League qualification. Who'd have thought, beginning of the season, the champions of last year clinging on by their fingernails to qualify for Champions League next season? I mean, what's changed? Why has it all gone a little pear-shaped this season?
I did say we weren't players that, our worst season hinged on how we performed in the January transfer market. Again, did perform well. So for me, I didn't think it would be this far in terms of, I don't think the point gap would be this big. I didn't think it'd be 10. Sort of settled on, I thought we had Europa League. Realistically, let's be honest, it is probably the 5th best squad in the league. It's not the best squad. Conte he's a good coach, so he got what he could out of a very limited squad last year. He found a system. It worked fantastically. However, that system then got found out, and he doesn't have a plan B, which is unfortunate. So I think it's a case of this year as well. There's just been a lot in terms of the back going on in the back room. You've had problems between the hierarchy and Conte. You've had, clearly he goes into the media. He says stuff. He slates the players in the media. It probably doesn't help team morale. And I think if you're going to be that hard-nosed man, or that if you're a hard-nosed boss, that only lasts so long in terms of motivating a team. And realistically, I think his tenure's almost come to an end now. I think everyone can see that. Despite him saying he wants to stay on, realistically, he would not say he's going to leave. Otherwise, the club would just go, yeah, okay, see you later, and not give him that severance package, which he quite clearly wants.
It's very unfortunate, because Conte, he set a trend for the three at the back, revived it from the dead. Last time we saw three at the back was back in the 70s, back in the 80s maybe. And, Chelsea managers seem to have a very short tenure at the football club. I mean, is there a lot of pressure or a lot of expectations that are really upon his shoulders at the beginning of the season?
From the fans, I don't think there was a huge amount of expectation regarding potentially winning the league again. I think a lot of us were pretty settled on, if you look on not winning the league or retaining the title, as soon as you saw the other squads that were available in City up in Manchester, realistically, everyone thought the title was going to be going back there this year. And, I think there was a certain amount of expectation regarding top four. I think, listen, if you're a club like Chelsea, realistically, this isn't me being entitled or whatever. Despite Chelsea not having, I'll put it in quotations, not having history before 2003, it's a case of if you're winning Premier Leagues, Champions, and you're going to be in the Champions League regularly, you're winning trophies, you expect a certain level of drive from the players. Now, it's not me saying win a trophy every year, because there are some supposedly world-class players in this team. Eden Hazard, supposedly one of the best players in the Premier League. Now, for me, I feel he's dropping off. I think it's time that Chelsea cash in on him personally.
I mean, to try and keep it relatively fresh, last weekend a draw at home to West Ham, done no favours for yourself to push to the top four. I mean, why did it all go all go pear-shaped that afternoon as well? I mean, surely the game on paper, you must have been hot favourites. And you know what? You even mentioned Eden Hazard there. Maybe it's time to cash in. I was banking on him last weekend to score me a few goals because I captained him in my fantasy team.
Well, that wasn't the smartest move. I think Hazard he had an all right game last week. I think he was given a lot of stick, unnecessary stick. I think if Hazard shut off, Chelsea shut off. That's just how it works. He's our main outlet. Despite Willian being so pivotal for us over the past few months, he's had a terrific run of form. Hazard last week, he was trying to make opportunity, but he's just too selfless. And unfortunately, he doesn't have an outlet like he had in Diego Costa last year to, get those goals and get those assists. and bounce off each other. I think, listen, Chelsea right now are in a bit of the funk. You said it yourself. They're in the blues. If we turn up, we're a good side. But I think it's a case of, it really does depend what team turns up. Chelsea, since January, we've only won 3 Premier League games, I believe. Our points tally, that is relegation form. We've picked up 12 points, I believe, since January. And that, realistically, if you spread that out season, 38 points, that might not be enough to keep you up. Just about, but it's relegation form.
You know, you seem to be a bit down about that situation. We'd absolutely love for 12 points. You said that's relegation form. Try picking up some of our points since the new year, mate.
Well, that is true. I mean, to be honest, I really didn't expect this from Southampton. I don't think anybody did this season. But Pellegrino, and I remember we spoke about it before the game when you played at Stamford Bridge. You know, Southampton do not sack managers. Yeah. And realistically, you needed to sack him. I mean, surely, last year, I filmed for you at the EFL before the EFL Cup final. I came and helped you out, and we were talking about Claude Puel and his boring football. I bet you now you must be wanting to have him back at that team.
Hindsight, mate. It is all hindsight. Of course it is. But it seems to be falling away for you. I mean, no more cups apart from the FA Cup. Is all the eggs in one basket for Conte? I mean, what do you think? What are your feelings about the draw? Obviously, the semi-final down the road at Wembley. I mean, what are your chances? Obviously, we'll meet again in about a week's time.
I'll put it this way. I think it's a cup competition. I don't ever want to say anything about a cup competition. If this was based purely on league form and everything in the league, you know, it's a completely different story. However, the FA Cup is a very special tournament, and I think anybody will tell you that. So realistically, I mean, I'm not a man for predictions anyway, but that's something I steer very, very far away from.
I mean, how do you think Conte will approach this weekend's game? I mean, obviously you've got midweek game with Burnley, which is no easy place to go anymore. You know, they are on the fringes of European football. Of course, if you win the FA Cup, Burnley become on a European tour next season. Unbelievable. But how do you think he'll approach this game? And then obviously considering the FA Cup game the next weekend.
Realistically, we have to win. We have to win. I think it's just a case of personal pride now. Look, the season is done in terms of the Premier League for Chelsea Football Club. There is no way back into top 4. Realistically, the only thing to stop us falling, well, put it this way, Arsenal are 3 points behind us. This is one of the worst Arsenal sides in living memory. You know, it's a case of, we need to realistically pick up the points wherever we can. And if we pick up those points, we don't fall behind that Arsenal team. Because if we fall into 6th, and even with Burnley, which are quite close behind Arsenal, potentially 7th, who knows what could happen. But we've got some. If you look at the fixtures on paper, obviously Swansea and Southampton, you guys are fighting for a relegation. You're fighting a battle to stay up. And just trying to stave off relegation. So that's always tough. On paper, if this was a few months before, I could say this is a game which we'll go and win and be quite comfortable about. But now, again, I just don't know what to see from this. But realistically, we have to win this game.
Excellent stuff. Well, you know what? You said you don't like predictions, but I'm going to push you for one. Away at St Mary's, mate. Come on, what are you thinking?
My first trip to St Mary's, I'm not going to lie. So, I don't know. I'll go 2-1 Chelsea. I'll take that. I'll take a 2-1.
I just want to see some spirit from the lads, to be honest. But remember, go ahead and check out Louis Aaron 100% Chelsea, and also head over there for our opposition view. You'll find the link in the card or in the end screen at the end of this video. Hopefully, we'll try and find some time after the match to catch up, mate.
Definitely. I'll definitely see you after the game, Freddie.
And thank you guys for sticking with us. Go ahead and leave us your predictions in below for Chelsea's visit to St Mary's this Saturday lunchtime.